In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Thanks for joining me on this edition of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, we will dive into one of the great tools that we have for podcast marketing called Capshow. And joining me is Bona Rai, co-founder and COO of Capshow. They're an AI software platform. It's designed to help entrepreneurs grow their podcasts and content with ease. As a non-technical founder, Bona excels at bringing together smart people and smart technology to solve real-world challenges for busy entrepreneurs. We definitely all need more of that. Bona, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Hey, Emmanuel, so lovely to be here.
Yeah, well, explain a little bit about this moniker of non-technical founder. What in the world does that mean?
Yeah, I found myself having to clarify that in some of the conversations I was in early on, because I think a lot of people, and rightfully, who have founded software companies, AI companies, have a very technical background, and I think that's amazing. But that's definitely not how we built Capshow. We built Capshow because we were like, this is a problem that we're kind of finding ourselves. I wonder if there's smart people who can help us solve it. So being non-technical, I have found, has actually been a really great bonus for us, because we're always thinking about it from the perspective of somebody who doesn't know all of the whiz-bang stuff, and they're not just trying to build cool things, but they're like, hey, this is a real problem that I have.
All right.
Help me fix it. So that's the little bit of the background.
All right. I love it. Yeah, you're kind of making sure that the conversation's in the right direction, not going down into SQL and Python and all that talk.
Exactly, which is very important. And I'm really glad there are really smart people that know how to leverage that.
Yeah, I love it. And how long has Capshow been around?
You know what? We are coming up to our 3rd anniversary. So it feels like way longer than that, because as you know, Emmanuel, in this space, it feels like a month is a year and a year is a decade. How fast things have been moving. Yeah. So it's very exciting. It's very, very exciting.
Congratulations on that. That is exciting and cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have a toddler in our hands.
That's right. You've graduated.
The terrible twos have been terrible, I can confirm.
I know. There's always that part of the entrepreneurial cycle, right? Where you're like, maybe we just quit all this and go get a job at Starbucks.
Oh, yeah. Buc-ee's maybe, but yeah, along the same lines. Exactly.
So you must have had a fair amount of podcast experience, at least, to know what you wanted to solve. Is that true?
Well, to be honest, I would say I definitely wouldn't call myself the most experienced podcaster. We, as in Deidre Shen, my co-founder, CEO of Capshow, and we had a podcast for our previous business. We were in coaching. It was just one of the many ways that we were sort of getting, sort of visibility out there and things like that. But it was the most effective mechanism for us to get clients. We definitely weren't trying to be like famous podcasters. We were just trying to put very, very niche content out for a very, very specific audience, small audience, and just really looking to use it as a conversion mechanism, and was working really well. So I wouldn't say that I was a huge podcaster in any sense of the word, but we did have a very niche podcast that worked very well for us at the time. But we hated writing show notes. We hated all of the stuff that came with that. And we're like, but we have to invest in this. This is obviously working. But that's how we kind of came up with the idea for Capshow, to say, surely there are other people doing what we're doing that need something that helps them with that part, so they can focus on the content creation and serving their clients.
Yeah. And so you had a very clear workflow of what you were doing in terms of show notes and the blog post and email newsletter and all those things. And you took that flow chart and you sat down with the nerds and said, help me make this something that I can just plug and play. Is that what happened?
Pretty much, except for the part that this was in 2022, and we weren't even thinking to the extent of converting into blog posts and things like that. We were just like, every week we would say, "Oh, what do we title this? And what do we put in the description? I just need to publish this, if nothing
Yeah.
else," right? So we
Yeah.
weren't even at the stage of saying, you know what, this is a great piece of content, let's repurpose it. So we were just from what we understand, at least in the space, the first people to sort of automate. We were kind of like, we are the automated show notes writer. And everyone was like, wow, that's incredible. We were at
Yeah.
PodFest and people were waiting 20 minutes at the time with really terrible conference Wi-Fi to actually wait for their show notes and titles to be produced. And we have this video, it's hilarious. Everyone's like, this is incredible. So it was literally just for the title and show notes to begin with. But then
Nice.
we're very quickly like, hang on, we have the transcript. We have the, to your point, we met some really wonderful, very smart nerds who
Yeah.
said, yeah, this is possible. Said, well, we should take this further because why should we do just show notes? Like you said, emails, blog posts, all of that stuff can be done now. And that's how we kind of furthered it.
I love it. Yeah. So that you had this MVP, this minimally viable product, and then you're able to just keep adding sequences onto it.
Exactly. Heavy on the M because it was very, very minimum and barely a product. I was on my knees, just kind of grabbed a table at PodFest in the lobby area, and we were just sort of spruiking it with no booth. So sorry, PodFest. We were just kind of being very, very guerrilla marketing about it. But it was exactly, we kind of, without realizing it, just really followed through on the MVP, then kind of build it out with our community.
Nice. And so what is kind of the core product now in this phase 3 years later?
Yeah. So basically, we have now, we did, to your point earlier in the intro, we did start with podcasters because we had a podcast ourselves. Once we got into it, we realized this was ultimately about helping people who are video or at least audio first, so spoken word first. That was their most natural forms of communication, to repurpose that into all of the written marketing assets that they needed. So even though you can absolutely use live streams like this or podcast episodes that are produced and published, you can absolutely just use some people just like to speak their thoughts out into a voice memo, right? So anybody
nice.
who is voice first, video first, as a way of thinking through their IP and all of the knowledge and expertise they have, Capture is for you. Ultimately, what it does is it repurposes all of that, like I said, into a marketing suite using our marketing studio. So like my niece, who is just turned 10, says, she said, oh, so you help people who love talking but hate writing. And I said, yeah, you know what? That's pretty spot on. So it does that. That's our core offering. And in more recent sort of months, we have also launched a very simple clipping tool that helps you repurpose your video into social media ready clips. And we also have our image studio, which also helps you create AI created images as well.
Nice. That's a fun addition.
Yeah.
What about the titling? Where are you at with titling?
As in titling episodes and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, like the subtitles.
Yes. We don't have a subtitle creator as yet. It is something that we've dabbled with back and forth. We did used to have it in a previous version of Capture. It is something that we've gone back and forth with because some people already have that in their workflow and have kind of said, hey, really what we need is a content marketing. So we just said, look, let's be good entrepreneurs and really focus on what we do really well, which is helping you create assets, marketing assets from your sort of, long form content. So we've gone back and forth on that, but the current version of Capture does not have a subtitling sort of.
I got you. So you bring that in as the video already, and then be able to build that out.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of our Capturevians, which is what our community of users are called, customers are called, they basically already have sort of their video production workflow that helps them create transcripts as well, or they just use the native, wherever they're publishing, native functionality of those platforms to do the transcripts and subtitling. And then they use ours as a post-production tool to say, okay, that's all sweet now. I've used Capture to help me publish that. And now I'm going to really think about how I reach a broader audience beyond just video and audio.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, good for you for staying focused.
It's hard though, Manuel. It's very hard.
Yeah, believe me, I know. It is. We're living in an age, for those of us who are maybe not nerds, but on the nerd bubble, where we could say we could do anything. All I got to do is go log into Lovable and type in a few sentences and reference
Yes.
something, and then, oh, I've got this MVP. Maybe I should just do it.
I know, it's very scary. And I've been, speaking of Lovable, I've been playing around with Cursor, which kind of makes
Oh
me
yeah,
feel a little bit more technical, but I'm not technical. And because you have the code base, if you've built something, it just helps you with that. And you're like, this now can happen in hours rather than days or weeks. So it is dangerous for those of us who have trouble focusing, for sure.
yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, explain to me a little bit more about what's in the suite of tools that is the core of your product.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have three main studios. We have Marketing Studio, Image Studio, and Clipping Studio. Marketing Studio is our bread and butter. That's what most people know Capture for. It's our repurposing studio. So basically, you just upload your audio or video. And like I said, it doesn't have to be even video audio that you feel has had to be published before, or you even have had a podcast. Like I said, some of our Capturevians just upload voice memos. We've uploaded team meetings where we've just spoken out our thoughts about something.
Nice.
People will also upload things like client calls. Obviously, you want to make sure that it is something that your client is happy for you to use in this manner, or any training that you've done. So really anywhere that there's audio video content that you have created that's yours, or if you've been guests like I have on this particular podcast and the host is happy to share the content with you, you can actually also upload guest appearances where you've shared your expertise. And all you do is upload that. There is an extra step that we ask you to do, which is very, very important for us. And we've talked about marketing the age of AI, and that is to choose the persona that the content you're uploading is associated with. We ask you to set up a persona that has to do with your audience, who you are, what you do, and who you serve, what you serve them for. And it also will ask you to put in examples of how you like to write, so that Capture can learn your tone of voice. We're actually very proud of this feature. It's one of the main pieces of feedback we get, to say that, hey, this is obviously AI, but it really does sound like me, because we ask you to train it with your tone of voice, and it learns it over time, the more edits you make on the platform. So those are the couple of steps that you have to take when you upload it. But post that, it will basically generate, Marketing Studio will generate titles and descriptions, YouTube title and descriptions, chapter summaries, transcripts, everything you need to publish. And then post that, it will also generate, social media posts that are not just generic, hey, listen to my podcast episode kind of posts. They're actually built on this framework called basically the 4-post strategy, which Katie Brinkley, who is a social media expert, sort of teaches, and it's her proprietary sort of framework that we've built into the platform, that it will actually generate 4 posts, as the name suggests, that basically takes your audience from awareness to action. We also create LinkedIn newsletters. We also create blog posts we've spoken about. We also pick a curation of quotes from the particular upload. We also do lead magnet assets like checklists and things like that. So it does a lot, which is going to be the main thing that you're going to have to watch, is that it can be overwhelming. So we definitely help you sort of choose what's right for you and your platform. But basically everything you need is there as almost like a buffet of assets. So that's Marketing Studio.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is a powerful addition, especially while you're describing that custom GPT that you have the user create in order to capture voice, so that it is
Yes.
on brand, on tone, and functional in terms of authenticity.
Exactly, which is very important. Very important. Yeah.
What's the back end which LLM are you using? Are you LLM agnostic, or did you create your own?
A mix of everything, actually. So yeah, we definitely have our main, I would say, sort of differentiator that we've seen, or at least our customers tell us, is that there is the tone of voice learner, which is our kind of proprietary overlay, and kind of especially how it sort of not just picks up your tone of voice as it relates to how you write, but it also overlays that with which industry you're in, who you have told us you serve specifically, and things like that. So that's one layer of it. And the other layer as well is actually we are very specific about creating the content that we create for you isn't just content. It's specifically designed to help you sort of use your content as a way of content marketing. So there's a marketing lens to it. So obviously you can just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I am a marketing expert with this many years experience in XYZ. Write a blog post for me that's going to help me XYZ, right? So that's impossible. But we've built all of that in for you already inside of Capsho. So we leverage obviously LLMs, but really the layer that we've built in is how do all of those things come together to sort of pull back a very, very precise result for you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a smart little hack, and it is ultimately a massive time saver for those of us who are doing content marketing, which should be everybody at this
Exactly.
point.
Yeah. Which is everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big target market.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Have you created, or is it on the roadmap? Is there some kind of webhooks or API so that we can plug this into other bigger workflows?
That's a question we get all of the time. Not yet. We've kind of held back on that only because, as you would know, kind of once you get into that space, it's a huge undertaking. And then, once you have one, then you're likely going to be, wanting another. So a lot of it does come back to us. The request really comes from us making the final step easier, which is kind of truly publishing. So, hey, can we just hook this up to social media so that I can just hit post from or schedule from the platform? So at the moment, we've kind of steered away from that. And one of the main reasons for that is it's obviously a very expensive exercise by way, especially time. And we're actually a fully bootstrapped, very, very tiny company. We have intentionally stayed that way. We don't take external funding because we want to be very community driven. And whilst that is one of the things that does come up now and then, ultimately people have said, well, really where we find the value is in this kind of super potent, really, really effective content, which then I can take away and say, well, I might not want to do that as a blog post. I might want to turn that into an email newsletter. And the publishing of the blog post is not the big time saver for me. It's all of the work that you've helped me do to think that it's even possible for me to have an email newsletter, right? So ultimately, if we had unlimited resources and time, or if we had external funding, which we don't, and we have strategically decided not to get, we might entertain that. But right now, we're very, very focused on just making sure that the quality of what people are getting is really, really high.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good position, reasonable position. Speaking of that, what is on the product roadmap for the next 6 months?
Yeah, so this is a very exciting time. We have sort of one of the main pieces of feedback that we've received and what we've learned is, sort of when we first came to be, it was all very exciting because there was not a lot of people doing what we were doing. And we just wanted to sort of add more and more and more things that people could do. And now we're getting to the point, and I'm sure, Emmanuel, you're finding this too, being in the space and hearing from your community, is that it's kind of got to a point where people are extremely overwhelmed at that saturation point with all of the things that they know that AI can produce for them. So we've just kind of taken a step to say, hang on, let's take a moment here, because the last thing we want, because AI is supposed to be helping you save time, it's supposed to be making your life easier. It can't be creating a longer list of shoulds for you and that you can't get to. And it actually is taking time away and attention away. So we're just like, okay, so I don't think it's about adding more and more and more features necessarily, but it's kind of taking a step back to say, now that people have been using AI a lot for a lot of different things, help us choose and decide and design what do we think might be the most specific use cases. So one example is people were like, well, my podcast series, for example, or season, I've kind of structured in this way. So we're like, hey, what if you could turn that into an ebook? So every podcast episode could be turned into a book chapter. So we've played around with that. And rather than building that into the platform and potentially turning it into something that overwhelms 80% and only 20% use, we've kind of built out it as a kind of on the side for people to sort of play around with, give us feedback, and if it makes sense, to then integrate it into the platform. So that's something that we're playing around with to say, okay, let's not sort of, bloat the platform too much. Let's have these sort of separate little, side quests that we can have to really give people a sense of very, very specific use case for AI and their content to then help us sort of decide that. So that's kind of on track as well. But another thing that's been very exciting that we've been building outside of Capsho is that we've said Capsho is really great for an all-in-one solution when you want an all-in-one repurposing solution. But some people just want very specific things done with AI, and they might just not want to be asking chat every single time to do that. So we've actually been building a separate platform that is basically just a bit of a marketplace for very, very specific tools that will help you execute very specific tasks to start with marketing. And then you can just purchase the tool on its own rather than kind of needing a whole all-in-one solution like Capture. That's what we've been working on. They're the two things that you'll probably see from us in the next 3 to 6 months, which is very exciting.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to have you and Deidre on when the marketplace comes out, and we can talk about what kind of tools are there, because that, I think, for those of us on this edge of this trend, that the content curation is really not just something that we could do, but it's something we all should be doing. We need to take that leadership role to as we filter through what's middleware or what's just smoke and mirrors and what's real. We have to show our user groups what those
absolutely
things are. So
yeah
I'm interested to know more about the marketplace when you're ready to talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, we are in beta right now, and we're hopefully looking to get the first tool out very soon. So you will definitely be on that list, Emmanuel.
All right, cool. I appreciate it. Well, Bonnie, it's been a real treat to talk to you and look at the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so the best way to get in touch with me is just email the team at hi@capshow.com if you want to have a more in-depth conversation. If you want to just check out Capshow and what we're about, you can just head to www.capshow.com. That kind of pretty much lays out everything that we do. But yeah, and we'd love to hear from you and learn more about what you're doing and how we can help.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking a piece of your day to have a conversation with me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day. Well, interesting concept with shooting video, doing voice recording, and then taking that content and repurposing it in any number of ways. So very, very interesting tool, very easy to use. I recommend you check it out. Link will be in the show notes. Also, I want to amplify something that Bona said, which was that the AI tools are meant to help us, and that it's a tool that can be, AI is a tool that can be used to elevate our performance, to take away dreary work or work that we're not good at, and reclaim some time for our lives. And so my hope for you is that today you find a couple of tools to test, invest a little bit of time, and find part of your workflow that can be automated, and then take that time and spend it with your friends, your family, or get outside and smell fresh air and feel sun and wind on your face. Emmanuel Rose here, Marketing in the Age of AI. Thanks for joining me. I hope this has been valuable, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.